San Francisco to do a software engineering internship, and what I found out is that software is all about abstraction, and more exactly, software engineering is the search for abstraction, and I'm gonna explain that now. Hello and welcome back. My name is Andrei and this is the episode 14 of Decode Your 20s. Now this episode is not only about the general topics that I talk about, but it's mostly about software engineering as a profession. So I started a software engineering internship here in the capital of technology in San Francisco, and the thing that's struck me the most is that software engineering, it's more or less the search for abstraction. And what I mean by that is the following. Firstly, I apologize for the audio. I know there is wind, but I thought that I will compensate with this super nice view, and I'm actually gonna get out of the view such that you can see it because it's nicer. Cool. Coming back to abstraction. So if you think in a perspective, what we as humans use, the computers, they are on 7 or 8 or 9 levels of abstraction. So you probably have heard that everything that you do on a computer is in terms of bits, 1 and 0. So if you imagine that when you play a game, everything that's changing on a computer is the memory in a computer is like a sequence of 1 and 0s, and everything that's changing in that computer when you are shooting someone in a game or when you are playing a game is like some bytes of 1 and 0. But for us as users of the computer, we do not have to care about that. We play on a different level of abstraction. We play on the level of abstraction as a user, right? And what I mean by the level of abstraction is that you use something at a level in which you consider that everything beneath it just works, and you don't have to care about how it actually works. So if you take a computer, we have this layer of ones and zeros, but this is a level of abstraction which is not the one on the top. There are levels of abstraction which are even more deep. Take for example, can you imagine that a processor is more or less like some sand, like silicon? If you put at that level of abstraction, everything is just all about atoms and how they unite and how they transport energy. So you have the level of electrons, then you have the level, let's say, of bytes, then you have the level of the actual machine code for the processor. You give some instructions to the processor in a way that it actually understands. So we talk from a users, but think that some people talk on a levels of abstraction, how much time are you gonna spend in that application. They talk about the actual patterns in usage of that application. They do not care how buttons are individually labeled, but what they think is how can I make those people like my application. So they are talking about ideas, right? These are the ones, let's call them product managers, right? So they have the ideas for what the application should behave like, right? But on top of that, there are people who think on solving the problem as a whole. Take for example Uber, right? The actual ride-sharing application. And let's start from the highest. And for example, the founder of the CEO of Uber, he didn't think how to implement this application, but he started cars, taxis should be easily available to everyone on a click of a button. That's the most the highest level of abstraction. It's an idea. It's something that you want to make in a reality. You don't know exactly how, you just want. right? So you start from that idea. I want all the taxis in this world to be at the touch of a button. Now if you go, so this is the highest. If you go one level deep, it's like, how should I make that happen? I need to create a company. I need to create something which has the power of more than one human being like himself in order to make this a reality. So you need to hire all those people like product managers or software engineers, and these are already talking at a different level of abstraction. So you have the whole idea, like the vision, let's call it the vision. You need to tell it to the ones beneath it, which work on more concrete levels, right? So let's say that he is telling this to, let's just say, some product managers, right, which should come with the idea of with the idea that you need a mobile application, and that how should that application behave, how it should feel for the actual users, and what it should do. So those people start with the clear idea that what they need to do is that mobile application, and they need to find ways in how to actually make that application behave. Point of view of, we need a mobile application. It should be available on both iPhones and Androids. It should work with the internet, right? So they have way more concrete requirements and an easier and more concrete path of what should they do, right? Those programmers will write some code, but the code that they are writing it in a programming language that the computer can actually understand. Those people are using something, meaning the actual programming language. All those inventions, which stays like more beneath them as the level of abstractions. So their task is to create the actual application given a set of requirements. But if you think a little bit deeper, there are levels of abstraction. For example, the internet. How many times did you think that the internet is a whole level of abstraction which you just use and you don't actually care how it actually works? You take it as it is and you use it for your own stuff. And the punchline is the following: the more upwards you go in the hierarchy, let's call it, right, in this hierarchy of levels of abstraction, the actual problem that you are solving is less and less defined, because you come from a more idea that you have to put it in practice, which you don't exactly know how to put in practice. And when you go deeper on these levels of abstraction, the set of requirements becomes more and more clear. And it's an interesting way to put it in perspective, right? Think that they come with ideas from nowhere and they have to make them a reality, which is phenomenal, right? And they don't necessarily know they know what they want, but they don't know exactly how they achieve it. So they go deeper and deeper and deeper until you actually achieve it, right? And the punchline of all of this is the following: I think that each of us should decide for themselves at what level of abstraction we want to place ourselves. So do we want to be the ones which actually create processors for the computer? Do we want to be the ones which actually creates programming languages or operating systems? Do we want to be the ones which creates applications for this platform, right? Or do we want to be the one which actually we come with the idea of with the problem that we want to solve, and these applications on some mobile platforms are just a way of achieving that thing, right? It's super interesting, and I hope that you are gonna think about this one. For me, it was interesting. Now again, thank you for watching, and if I brought you any value, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my videos. Now the good thing is the following: for those who do not have the actual time to watch my videos, I made them also available as a podcast. So I will link the link for the podcast on any platform that you are taking your podcast in the description, and you can take it from there.